Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, fellow dregs in society. Welcome, all you rock dwellers. And as Liz Warren says, welcome, all you hateful people who celebrate the president. Or as Beto O'Rourke says, it's really not hard to view Trump supporters as racist. All of you, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. And joining me as my co-host, well, as she does a couple of times a week, is my very good friend from the battle-born state, the silver state of Nevada, and that is Sharron Angle. Sharron, welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thanks, Rick. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, it's my pleasure indeed. And Sharron, we've got some really great news about the border wall.
I think so. Mm-hmm. I think so. It's kind of interesting. Donald Trump has been wanting to do this for his whole presidency. And the Pentagon on Tuesday approved the reallocation of $3.6 billion of defense funding to President Donald Trump's plan for an expanded physical border along the U.S.-Mexican border. In a letter to Congress, Defense Secretary Mark Esper said the funding would be redistributed from 127 military construction projects to 11 wall projects, which he said are necessary to support the use of armed forces in the connection with the national emergency at the southern border. So they're recognizing that we have a national emergency, and they're ready to redistribute the monies that are allocated to them by Congress for construction projects to focus on that border wall. It's going to be 175 miles of new or reconstructed wall along the border with Mexico. So, hallelujah. This is going to get done even before the 2020 election. It looks like they've got the money and the go-ahead, and guess what? Congress failed to act, and that's what happens, right? And the president said, okay, we'll figure another way.
Well, Sharron, when you talk about national emergency, if there's any liberals out there listening, they're probably jumping up and down. Where's the national emergency? Where is the national emergency? Well, listen to these statistics. And this is for fiscal year 2019 to date. And these are coming from the government. And these are crime alien statistics. In 2019 so far, there have been 260 illegal aliens arrested for assault and battery, domestic violence. So far this year, 158 have been arrested for burglary, robbery, larceny, theft, or fraud. This year so far, 540 arrested driving under the influence. 2 have been arrested for homicides and murder. 395. We hear all about this national emergency, the opioid epidemic. Okay, well, here you go. Here's one of the reasons. 395 have been arrested for illegal drug possession and trafficking. 2,379 have been arrested for illegal reentry. In other words, we caught them once, we kicked them out, we caught them coming back again. 53, illegal weapons possession and transporting and trafficking. 54 for sex offenses. And 705 for other charges. I call that an emergency, Sharron, wouldn't you?
I would, and if we listen to our guest this week, Maria Espinosa, who's running for Congress, and we hope that she has success there because she really does have a really good idea of what's going on in this criminal illegal alien population. They are criminals. They aren't being prosecuted. The ones who are being prosecuted are being let go. It is just outrageous what's going on, and it is a national emergency. I think that the military has got it right this time. This is an emergency. We do need their support on the border, and if they're going to be working there, they say we need to have something defensible. We have to have defensible space. So here we go.
Yeah,
and
Sharron,
this is
I want
our
to correct one
Defense
thing.
Secretary Mark Esper.
Right.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to make a correction. I said people were arrested for this. It wasn't just arrest. They were convicted in these charges. Convicted. So, big difference between being arrested and convicted. These are convictions. I'm sure a lot more have been arrested for these charges.
And then let go. I guess that's the sad part. Here we have Kate Steinle. We get one conviction there, and now they're letting that guy go. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
It is totally outrageous. It's totally outrageous that these people are walking our streets. It's even more outrageous that these people are hurting citizens, committing real. And something that's not on here that I would like to know, all the identity theft that goes on, Sharron, because these people have to be here somehow, some way, and they steal other identity. They steal other people's identity to be able to get jobs and to get credit cards, to get licenses. It's incredible. Incredible.
There is a fraudulent part of this whole thing. Fraud is being committed. People are worried about their identity and what's going on there. So you're right. It's more than just active criminals that are killing people and robbing and stealing. There is a white collar crime aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sharron, more news coming out of the city of Chicago other than the Cubs or White House or White Sox.
Well, I thought this was just fascinating because there's a mayor there. Her name is Lightfoot. That's her last name. Mayor Lightfoot is not shy about defending Chicago on the national stage, and she really took exception to Ted Cruz saying that gun control doesn't work. Just look at Chicago. And she says, "What do you mean, look at Chicago? Don't even let those words come out of your mouth." Well, Mayor Lightfoot, come on. Gun violence in Chicago over the Labor Day weekend rose sharply this year, with at least 44 people shot and 9 of them killed, as Chicago police deployed hundreds of fewer officers than last year. So the mayor and the city council are in charge of keeping them fewer. They are not even having as many policemen on the job. So how can you fight crime with fewer troops and this kind of crime? I mean, it's craziness. The Grand Crossing and Chicago Lawn police districts on the south side were hit with the most violence, each reporting 7 people shot from Friday night to early Tuesday. In 2 of the shootings on the south side, at least 4 people were wounded in each attack. The youngest person killed was 15-year Devontae Johnson, 15 years old, gunned down early on Sunday in front of his house. And during a vigil for him, he died. They had a vigil. Another 15-year-old was wounded in that same neighborhood. And so it just goes on and on. She says, she says, "Don't take Chicago's name in vain because the guns come from outside. They're not our guns."
Well, her people have the guns.
States, she said.
Well, a couple of things. It seems like they should outlaw holidays in Chicago, because after every holiday, we always get these reports of this massive criminal violence. I won't call it gun violence. It's criminal behavior. All this criminal behavior during the holidays in Chicago. That should be banned. You said, what, 7 dead and how many others wounded?
Well, it was 2 cases of 7 dead. So there was one incident where 7 were killed, and another incident where 7 were killed, and at least 4 people in each of those incidents were wounded. Wow. Now, the total numbers were 44 people shot, 9 of them killed. So there's something wrong here. These are different areas of Chicago.
Well, and again, I bring this up because that, to me, is equivalent to one of these mass shootings. All right? But Chicago's a gun-free zone. Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. And I don't care if their damn mayor says, well, these guns are coming from outside or not. Drugs are illegal. But yet they're coming into Chicago. They're coming into our country, even with all their drug laws. Okay? They're still coming here. And Sharron, I say this time and time and time again. When you have these strict gun laws, the only people that will have guns are criminals. And the rest of us are left unprotected. The police can't protect us.
That's right. And yeah. Beto O'Rourke says, got to take those guns away from the law-abiding citizens.
Sharron, you can't actually say, and I know you're a lady, and you wouldn't say what Beto O'Rourke says about it, but hey, Sharron, we do need to...
I think we're even forbidden to say that over the radio. That's what gets me, is that, they quote him, they let him talk like that over the national airwaves. I thought there were laws.
Well, not when you're Beto O'Rourke, I guess. Hey, Sharron, let's take a break because we want to tell our audience who our guests are. And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos, the radio show with Sharron Angle, and I'm Rick Trader. Today's show, like every show we do, is brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharron and I will be right back. We'll let you know who our guests are and what our topics for conversation will be.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving, and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Engel. And Sharron, we've got three great guests joining us once again today.
Yes, we do. Our first guest is Rita Dunaway. She is a constitutional attorney and the author of Restoring America's Soul, Advancing Timeless Conservative Principles in a Wayward Culture. And she's also co-host of a weekly radio program, Crossroads, where faith and culture meet. Rita's going to talk about an article that she wrote, Straw Wars, a political case study. Our second guest is a longtime friend of the show, Liz Peek, who is a Fox News contributor and a columnist for The Hill and FoxNews.com. She wrote an article, Bye Bye Bernie, Dems won't nominate socialist senator to run against Trump. And finally, our last guest is Tristan Justice, who is a staff writer at The Federalist, focusing on the 2020 presidential elections. Mm-hmm. He has written an article in his crusade for gun control. Beto O'Rourke gets the facts wrong about shootings. No kidding, Rick. No kidding.
No kidding. No kidding. Hey, Sharron, we're just coming out of the Labor Day weekend, and did you and Ted have a cookout?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Doesn't everybody?
Well, doesn't everybody, but not everybody likes it. Because there's a vegan woman who has filed a suit against her neighbors in Australia after complaining about the smell of meats and fish emanating from their barbecues into her backyard.
Okay.
Dalla Carden took her case to Australia's Supreme Court, citing her neighbor barbecuing, smoking, and children playing basketball, among other complaints. Carden accused her neighbors of intentionally setting up these nuisances. It's deliberate, she says. It's deliberate. All I can smell is fish. I can't enjoy my backyard. Well, Sharron, here you go, another little liberal. If conservatives don't like something, they don't do it, they don't buy it or whatever. But if liberals don't like something, they don't want anybody to do it. So I hope your neighbor isn't like this Celia Carden.
Well, we've got anything goes here in Nevada. The burners were here this last weekend. They kind of come in for Burning Man for 2 weeks ahead of Labor Day. And I'm sure there was lots of smoke going on out there, all kinds. And,
I'm sure.
And, no one says, stop polluting my air. We just say, I'm not going to Burning Man. I'm not going to deal with the burners, right?
There you go.
We just don't go. As you say, don't go. But she's saying it sounds kind of cranky. Yeah. Every once in a while, you get a cranky neighbor, and sometimes you just got to invite them to the next barbecue.
Great solution. Great. And cook them up a few veggies on the.
That's right.
Yeah,
just a little zucchini on the Barbie.
Hey, that sounds great. Hey, Sharron, Antifa's back in the news.
Oh my goodness, are they ever? The ACLU said that a bill that Congress is considering labeling Antifa as a terrorist group so that they can get prosecutions against these groups to make them more accountable. Mm-hmm. They say that it would be discriminatory. Mm. And here's who they are discriminating against with this law. People of color and other marginalized communities have long been targeted under domestic terrorism authorities for unfair and discriminatory surveillance, investigation, and prosecutions, the civil rights group said in a letter to House Judiciary Chairman Gerald Nadler. So they're saying can't do it because it's discrimination.
Well, this idea of discrimination because Antifa is people of color. It's probably people of all colors. And Sharron, whenever I've seen video or pictures of these Antifa riots, it seems to me, and you know, they're pretty well covered, but you can see hands. I was going to say
you can hardly tell.
Yeah, well, it seems to me it's a bunch of white guys. You know that I see very little people of color. Hey, Sharron, there's something the other day. I'm very interested in history and geology and archaeology and things. They have found the oldest human skull, 3.2 million years old, that they found in Africa. And if I thought of something the other day, if humanity started in Africa, doesn't that make me an African American?
Have you been to 23andMe? I'll tell you something.
Not yet, but you know, and they say that humanity started in Africa 3.2 million years ago. Well, that means all of our ancestry leads back to Africa. So I think that qualifies me as being an African American.
Well, it's been quite a revelation to go through your ancestry and find out just where you do come from, and so many of us, because we are the melting pot.
We are
here in the United States. So many of us have North African, European, Western European, Asian roots.
Sharron, have you ever
done it? We are mixed up.
Have you done the 23andMe?
I have.
Oh, okay. I've always been leery of doing that because I can foresee that the government somewhere down the road will make 23andMe and Ancestry.com, and to give all that information to the federal government. And, you know, I'm kind of a limited government guy. Hey, Sharron, we got to take a break and get our first guest on. And our first guest is going to be Rita Dunaway. She's a constitutional attorney. She's also the co-host of Crossroads. It's a radio broadcast where faith and culture meet. She has a very interesting article, Straw Wars, a political case study. Don't go away. Sharron and I will be right back with our first guest.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Engel. Yes, that's Sharron Engel. And for rebroadcast, please check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. Also, don't forget to like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And Sharron, we do have our first guest of the day with us. And as you always do, please make her feel welcome.
Well, it's a real honor for me to introduce Rita Dunaway, who is a constitutional attorney, the author of Restoring America's Soul, Advancing Timeless Conservative Principles in a Wayward Culture. And she's co-host of a weekly radio program, Crossroads, where faith and culture meet. Rita, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Well, we are interested in some articles you've written. The first one is called Straw Wars, a political case study. And the second one is The Absurdity of Denying Facts, Truth Principles versus Fake News. So let's start out with the straws. Straw Wars. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I do write a weekly column as well. It's usually published on the Stream. And so as I was thinking about what I was going to write about, I came across this article in the Washington Post. Yes, I read the Washington Post. And the article was all about these straws. And it was going on about how President Trump is trying to sort of provoke everyone. I think the phrase it used was he's trying to dial up the culture wars, make everybody agitated. And so the article was talking about how the Trump campaign, in order to poke fun at these liberal states and cities that have enacted laws prohibiting plastic straws, the Trump campaign is now selling plastic straws. And I thought, really? Would they really do that? Would they really sell something that is actually harmful to the environment just in order to get people stirred up and to provoke the liberals and make fun of them? So I was planning to write my column about that. And as I started to do a little bit of research into it, what I found out was these plastic straws that the Trump campaign is selling are actually reusable, recyclable plastic straws. But of course, that was not mentioned anywhere in the article. And so it led me to think, who is it here who's really dialing up the culture wars? This time, I don't think it's President Trump.
It's interesting when you get right down in and dig the facts out, how they skew these things, don't they? I wonder if there are other examples of this out there that we just haven't bothered to investigate. What do you think?
I'm sure there are. And, I think that's really the lesson to be learned, is that in order to be responsible citizens in this day and age, which we know we must be responsible citizens because we live in a self-governing nation, right? But in order to do that, it really takes a lot of time and effort on our part as regular citizens today, because we have information overload. It's all coming at us, and it comes at us in sound bites and in, 50-character tweets. And we just can't get the whole picture or even an accurate picture by just digesting what is fed to us. We have to do the work of finding out the truth behind what's actually reported to us.
So how's the Trump campaign doing with these straws? Are they, are they a hit, or are they, who cares?
I think people love them. From the articles I've seen, they're selling like hotcakes. And it's really interesting that what the Trump campaign has done is to offer an alternative that is also trying to be environmentally friendly, which I think is important. I mean, we all should care about our environment. It's not just the liberals that want to clean up our oceans and our beaches, but his campaign is offering an alternative that actually works, because of course the funny thing about the paper straws is they just don't work. They fall apart. They, fall apart at the little place where you put them through the hole, and they disintegrate. They just don't work very well. So what we need to be talking about is that's an alternative, a workable alternative that is environmentally friendly. And that should be the issue, not the fake story about President Trump this time being the one to dial up the culture wars.
Well, let's talk about these straws a little bit, because I may want to get one. What do they look like? Do you think they're going to become a collector's item? I guess that's the main thing, Any memorabilia like this may be something that people will keep forever, and they don't make their way to the landfill because of that. So they're more than just recyclable. They're keepsakes.
Yeah, I think they very well could become collector's items. The ones that I saw a picture of were red, and I believe they may have said, "Make America Great Again," which would certainly make sense and identify with the Trump campaign.
Well, it sounds like they have really sparked, I guess, actually an economic niche, if you will. So here we go. When I was running for office, there were lots of people that capitalized on my name and made memorabilia. I never got a cent from it. I never even got any of the campaign donation. Nobody donated to my campaign from that. They just used my name and put it on all kinds of things. I think it's still out there. So, it really does in some ways spur the economy, doesn't it? I mean, these entrepreneurs are thinking of ways now. How can we use this Make America Great Again Trump fever that we've got going on?
Absolutely. And it's a beautiful thing. That's one of the great things, one of many great things about America is that's the way it works. There's a problem. People see there's a problem. There's an opportunity for us to solve this problem, sell a new product, make a little money off of it. I mean, really, it is a beautiful thing. And they're working on being environmentally friendly in the whole process because that's where the need is. And I submit that that's the right way to address these problems in a free society, not to have the government forcing on businesses all these policies and rules and regulations that just wear people down. And after a while, nobody has the energy to start a new business or the money to invest to get it started, as far as that goes, because it's become so overregulated.
Well, and it sounds a bit like sour grapes, like, they thought they had the good idea by outlawing plastic straws that everybody would just grab a hold of that and say, yes, we've got to do that. And instead, someone cleverly came up with a way to make money off of it. And now they're irritated over it all. That's kind of how it sounds to me. Does it sound that way to you?
Yeah, it does. Reading the article and, so I read the article the first time in the Washington Post. Then I did my research and I said to myself, could that story have really just completely omitted the fact that these are reusable, recyclable plastic straws? Surely not. I read the whole article a second time and it was a good, I'd say a half-page article in the Washington Post. And sure enough, not one mention of the fact that these straws were reusable and recyclable. I would say that is, just plain manipulating the public to believe something that's just not accurate.
Well, let's go on to your second article then, the absurdity of denying facts. So that's really what they were doing, is they were denying facts in order to give an impression that's totally false.
Yeah, and this second article that you're talking about with denying facts, this one is really deeply troubling to me. As I proposed in my book, Restoring America's Soul, I believe that conservatism at its core is about working to conserve what is good and true and beautiful in our society, our culture, and in our government. And now we find ourselves at this place in time and in space where we have to fight so hard just for the very concept that there is truth, that truth is a real thing, that the world isn't endlessly malleable. Some facts are just objectively true, and we have to live with them and work with them because we are bound by some facts. The world now in our culture here in America wants us to deny that. And this specific article was talking about this recent court case here in Virginia, Federal District Court in Virginia, ruled that a school district violated a female student's civil rights because it refused to allow females to use the boys' restroom. And, this is just something that is and should be very disturbing to all of us. But what I want to tell you is the court ruling actually went a step beyond that. That was the primary issue in this case, was access to the boys' restroom. The court went further and said that the school had also violated this student's civil rights. Female student, biologically female student. The school had violated her rights, it said, by reflecting on her school transcripts that she was a female. And this court actually ordered the school to go back through all of her school transcripts and indicate that she is in fact male. So we have a court here literally ordering a school to erase the truth about this student. What does that say about us as a society and where we are as conservatives? We've got a lot of work to do.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM, FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. We've been talking with our guest, Rita Dunaway, who's a constitutional attorney and has written a book, America's Soul, Advancing Timeless Conservative Principles in a Wayward Culture. She also co-hosts a radio program, but she writes articles, and she's written two that we've been discussing here on Conservative Commandos radio show, and we'll be right back to continue the conversation with my co-host Rick Trader, and I'm Sharron Angle.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
We want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. And we love to give a shout out to the folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and as Sharron said earlier, broadcast on the AUN television network in places like San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, and Wine Country. Our guest this segment is Rita Dunaway. She's a constitutional attorney. She is also the author of Restoring America's Soul, Advancing Timeless Conservative Principles in a Wayward Culture. Rita, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Sure, I'm happy to be here.
Well, Rita, in discussing this idea of these plastic straws, in my opinion, this whole issue is ludicrous in the first place. This idea of plastic straws were so bad started with a 9-year-old boy wrote an essay in school about plastic trash in the oceans. And the truth of it is that over 90% of all trash that ends up in the ocean come from 10 rivers, either in Africa or Asia. So if there's a problem, it's not with a 3-year-old drinking from a straw. And so, Rita, am I taking this too far and say this whole idea is overblown and it's ridiculous because banning plastic straws isn't gonna mean a thing?
Okay, well, I will go so far as to say that I think banning plastic straws is pretty intrusive, especially in light of the facts that you pointed out. Probably most of the plastic straws ending up in the oceans are not actually coming from these cities that are actually banning the plastic straws. So I don't know how useful that kind of regulation is anyway. But what I like to do, I talk in my book about being tough on issues, but gentle on people. And the way I propose that we use an issue like this to build a bridge with the left, who are typically our political opponents, right? I propose we say to them, we recognize that it's good that you want our oceans to be clean. You want our beaches to be clean because, after all, as a Christian, I care deeply about this world that God created for us.
I do too.
And
I think one of the principles of being a conservative is being environmentally conscious, is to recycle. In fact, let me show you this. Let me show you this, and this is no stranger to our audience. This is filled with iced tea. This straw I've been using, I don't know how long I've been using this straw. This cup is actually from Dole Peaches. Peaches. And the reason I like this cup is because when I make my iced tea, it has a nice wide lid to put the ice cubes in. So I'm environmentally conscious. Rita, you said, and we've been doing this show on the 30th of the month. Of this month, September, will be the 11th year we've been doing this show. Now, for each guest, I print out notes, I print out their articles, I print out my questions. on every one of these pieces of paper, you'll see something on the back. You know why? This is all recycled paper.
Yeah.
And I would bet in the 11 years that I have been doing this show, I have used less than one ream, that's 500 sheets of fresh paper. So I'm environmentally conscious. But Rita, you talked about this law being intrusive. I actually think it's discriminatory. Because have you ever seen a 3-year-old use a paper straw?
No, I can't say that I have.
Well, it's not a pretty sight. I can remember being a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, and at that time, you know, that was probably around the time the first rock was split in two. But at that time, all we had was paper straws, and I hated them. It was always a mess. I'd always get my juice or soda all over me. But, you know, Rita, I expect the next thing to happen is some environmentalists will be crying because of all the trees that are being cut down to produce paper straws. Rita, these people are never happy. You know, you want to reach out to them. That's great. But do you really believe that's possible? They seem to be off the rails, these people.
I think that some of them are, and it's not going to be possible in every case. But I really think that if you want to get a leftist, liberals' attention, tell them, I'm a conservative and I really care about what's happening to our oceans. This is what I propose. I think you'll turn some heads that way. And the reason is, I think that in fact, most conservatives, almost every conservative I know is just like you, just like me. They care about the environment. They recycle. You know, they're not just throwing their plastic in the ocean or in the streets. Right. They're not littering. They do care. But the liberals don't often hear that side of our position. They only seem to hear us saying, this is a bad law. And so they take that in their little soundbite and they extrapolate from that. You don't like this law to protect the environment. You don't care about the environment. We have to show them the other side. Yes, we care about the environment. We propose a better solution, a solution that works. And this Trump recyclable straw, I think, is a great example of that.
Well, I do too. Rita, also, when you were pitched to us as a guest, and we're certainly glad you're with us today, Rita Dunaway's truth principles that everyone can embrace to combat political bombast and reclaim our culture. Number one, truth in difficult times is the only roadmap that enables individuals to stay on track and not get lost. Explain that for me.
Well, truth is what it is. You know, God, the Creator, is a God of truth. He determines what's true. And we're only going to flourish as human beings if we live in accordance with that. You know, you can talk all about how you don't believe in gravity, you don't think it's real, but your life will go better if you don't go stepping out your 10th story window to get to the street, because gravity is true. And so I think that's really important for us to keep in mind, especially when we hear about cases like, you know, the high school aged girl or even younger girl who feels like a boy, wants to become a boy. We're not doing any service to that hurting, struggling child when we decide to just go along with the delusion and play pretend. We're only being compassionate and kind when we help her to see what is true and then to face the disappointment that may cause for her.
Yeah, Rita, we have time for one more if you can hold on. It wasn't, and I love this one, this is my favorite on the list. It wasn't long ago that truth was considered a virtue.
Yeah. That's right. I don't know how else to say it. And now, as we talked about before, we have a court quite literally telling a school, ordering a school, that it has to falsify a female student's school transcripts. We should be shocked and outraged by that. And friends, as conservatives who care about promoting truth, we have to resist that kind of wholesale attack on what's true.
Rita Dunaway, we want to thank you so much for joining us here in Conservative Commandos. Please tell our audience how they could follow your work, read your articles, and to check out your book.
My articles are posted each week on thestream.org, so you can find them on the stream. You can purchase my book, Restoring America's Soul, on Amazon.
And what's this crossroads where faith and culture meet? Where can people listen to that?
People can listen to that on a website. It's valleyfamilyforum.org. And we post the show there every week, but it airs here in the Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland area.
Terrific. Rita Dunaway, again, we want to thank you. We're so glad you joined us. Please come back again.
I'd love to. Thanks so much for having me.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. We share an angle, and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to have a longtime friend of the show, Liz Peek, join us. She's written a very interesting article, especially for those of you out there who are afraid about a President Bernie Sanders. Bye-bye, Bernie. Dems won't nominate a socialist senator to run against Trump. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest right after this.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. Please check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And if you'd like to recommend a guest, or maybe you yourself would like to be a guest here on Conservative Commandos, it's easy. Just send an email to me, rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. I know it's long, but it's easy. rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. And with that, Sharron, our next guest is with us. Always excited to have this guest with us. Please make that introduction.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure and a privilege to have Liz Peek, who is a Fox News contributor and a columnist for The Hill and FoxNews.com on our show. She is a weekly guest on several Fox business shows, including Varney and Company, Making Money with Charles Payne, After the Bell, Evening Edit, and appears frequently on the Neil Cavuto's Coast to Coast, Fox and Friends First, and other shows. In the past, she has written for the Bipartisan Fiscal Times and the New York Post, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Sun, and numerous other publications. And prior to becoming a journalist, Liz was a top-ranked research analyst covering oil field companies and director of international research for her firm. Liz, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Nice to be there. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're really interested in your article, Bye Bye Bernie. Dems won't nominate socialist senator to run against Trump. Well, why not? They want a socialist. It seems like everybody on that side is a socialist and proud to be. So why not Bernie? He's the one that first brought it up.
Well, that's right. He has been the change agent, I would say, for the Democratic Party going back to 2016, when, of course, he failed in his attempt to become the candidate, but in running pretty successfully, surprisingly successfully against Hillary Clinton, he certainly changed the nature of the conversation. If you remember, back in 2016, he really went after Hillary Clinton on trade, for example. He opposed the TPP, the big multi-nation Asia-focused trade deal that Obama wanted to sign, and he finally got Hillary Clinton to change her view on the TPP. She'd been an early supporter, and she basically turned around and then opposed it. Of course, over the ensuing years, and beginning that in 2016, he also was the first to advocate for free universal health care. Obama clearly took us part of the way down that road, but not entirely. He didn't endorse a single-payer system, which, of course, Bernie Sanders has done. And on many other topics, too, he has really pushed Democrats far to the left. And so now he is running in, I would say, third place now, but anyway, second or third behind Joe Biden. And yes, he is an avowed socialist, Democrat socialist, he calls himself. But clearly, if you're talking about getting rid of private health care and things, health care insurance and topics like that, that is a government takeover of the means of production, which is the traditional definition of socialism. So why won't he be the candidate? Couple of things. One, I think you've seen his turf really sort of taken away from him by Elizabeth Warren, who has gotten to be better and better known, partly because she has rolled out any number of policy papers over the last year. She, it's almost become a joke in her campaign. Whatever comes up, she has a plan for that, but she actually does have a plan for that. And I think she's kind of left Bernie in her wake. I mean, Bernie, has been sort of grudging to come up with an education plan and a climate plan and various things that everyone is clamoring for. His big thing has really just been income inequality, raising taxes, redistributing the country's wealth and income. Elizabeth Warren has taken that up, of course, and taken it even further, really, by talking about taxing wealth, but has also engaged in any number of other issues much more forcefully early on than Bernie Sanders. So right now, if you put Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren together, it's a bigger vote than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's up by 12 points on average in the Real Clear Politics polling. But those two represent a good slug of the Democratic Party. I just think it's pretty clear that Elizabeth Warren has momentum and Bernie Sanders does not. Secondly, the issue for both of those candidates, one of the big issues, is a very important role played by black Democrat voters who make up an astonishing 25% of the primary vote across the country for Democrats and 50% in South Carolina, for example, making the black vote very, very important. And, both have really struggled. Biden really has that vote lined up, particularly with voters over the age of 50. Joe Biden is very popular. Again, this is the black vote we're talking about. Bernie has a following amongst younger blacks, but Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren are going after those voters very aggressively. And all this is, remember that this race is still fairly young. I know it seems like it's gone on forever, at least it does to me. But in fact, if you go back 6 months and look at approval ratings, for example, a lot of people really didn't know much about Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris or Cory Booker or some of these other candidates. And so in the spring, there was a poll that showed, the NBC poll that was actually announced on NBC, that showed that Bernie Sanders supporters were basically low information voters. They were sort of in Bernie Sanders' camp because they didn't know much about any of the other candidates. And what it appears is that over time, as they have gotten to know more about them, they have gravitated away from Bernie Sanders, who I think has kind of worn out his sort of his appeal. I mean, he's always angry. He has sort of one line of attack. He doesn't really have any legislative record to run on. He's been in the Congress for 29 years and has yet to put his name on a single significant bill that passes. I mean, that's pretty poor. And of course, up until very recently, he wasn't even calling himself a Democrat. He wasn't. He was an independent. So I think he's really kind of a terrible candidate. And the reason I wrote the column actually is because it's kind of amazing, just taking a step away from everything as I did on vacation, thankfully. You kind of sit there and go, wait a minute, how is Bernie Sanders still in contention? I mean, it's kind of amazing. But really it's because Bernie's army, the people who followed him in 2016 haven't left him yet, but some are beginning to drift away, and I think they will drift to other candidates.
Well, so far, I'm seeing the Bernie-crats out here in Nevada. I had a young millennial at my door the other day touting Bernie Sanders, so they haven't got the message that their candidate is not in the running anymore. They're certainly out here.
Sharron, that's that low information. Sharron, that's that low information voter that Liz was talking about. Sorry.
I think you're right.
It's interesting, and I got some pushback, needless to say, on Twitter, as one does, about how probably Bernie Sanders group isn't terribly worried about what a Fox News person says. That may be, but if they take a look at the last couple of polls that have come out, they should begin to get pretty worried. And I think, I would say this about Bernie Sanders. If you talk, what are his strong suits? Why is he still out there? Partly, and I mentioned this in the article, he's very authentic. I mean, people like the fact they think Bernie's pretty straightforward. He may not pay more taxes than he has to, even though he thinks everyone else should. But on most topics, he doesn't try and please everybody. And by the way, I think Elizabeth Warren actually is in the same boat. He kind of sticks to his guns. And if you don't like what he's saying, that's fine. There's someone else for you. But, for example, there was an Economist YouGov poll out quite recently, national, for the Democratic, looking at all the candidates. And Biden still is in the lead with 26%, which, by the way, I still think is amazing, too, but I understand why it is. Warren is 22, Sanders at 14. That's a big drop. And that was taken over Labor Day weekend, and that's probably the worst showing I've seen from him recently, although midway through August, there was another poll, an IBD-TIPP poll, that had Biden up to 28, Warren 24, and Sanders at 12. So I'm not making it up. There has been a real shift, and not all the polls are coming in that way, but I think you're going to see, I think that's a trend that's going to continue. And by the way, the place where probably Elizabeth Warren's really going to clobber Sanders is Iowa, the number one state to vote. Warren has a huge ground game in Iowa, started very early. And I don't know if you noticed recently, Joe Biden's camp came out and said, Biden, we don't think Iowa is a must-win state, kind of preparing the ground for the fact that he may lose presence there. And I think he is. Elizabeth Warren, I think, has that one pretty much sewn up. And that could be pretty important. Now, New Hampshire, of course, that's a place where both Warren and Sanders are local. And Sanders still is doing quite well there. So, we'll see. I mean, it's pretty fascinating to watch, honestly. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty riveted by all of this.
Well, it is fascinating. I guess the most fascinating sentence in your article is that Sanders is not and never has been a registered Democrat. I thought to get on the ballot as a Democrat, you had to be registered as one. Who knew?
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. He has sort of signed a pledge saying, I will run and vote as a Democrat. But he, to my knowledge, he has not yet ever registered as a Democrat.
That's funny. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California, specifically San Francisco and Sacramento, Pelosi country. We've been talking with our guest, Liz Peek, who is a Fox News contributor, and she's written an article, Bye Bye Bernie, Dems Won't Nominate Socialist Senator to Run Against Trump. We'll be right back after these messages with my co-host, Rick Trader, and I'm Sharron Angle.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The secret war is yours, free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Engel. And on the phone we have Liz Peek. She's a Fox News contributor. She's written a very interesting article. Just like every article she writes is interesting, I do believe. And that's Bye Bye Bernie. Dems won't nominate socialist senator to run against Trump. Hey, Liz, thank you for holding through that break. We really do appreciate your time. Liz, when you describe Bernie Sanders, it almost sounds like me. He's a white septuagenarian senator from a tiny state about who the country heard next to nothing during his 25 years in Congress. First of all, do you believe he's too old to be running for president?
No, I think Bernie is very vital. I think he's got lots of energy. I've seen no sign of, I don't know, but I haven't seen any sign of mental frailty, unlike Joe Biden, who I think really has exhibited, everyone laughs, everyone says, oh, it's just Joe's gaffes. It really isn't. If you watch him closely, he really is muddled some of the time, and honestly, I sort of hope he is the candidate, because if you're a Trump supporter, you want to have Democrats nominate someone that Trump can beat. I think Biden is very beatable, because I think as time goes on, the stress of a campaign is going to reveal itself more and more in him making the kind of mistakes. They're not gaffes. Not knowing what state you're in is not a gaffe. It's a confused moment. And I think that kind of confusion that we've seen from Joe Biden is a real problem, and I think it is age-related. Not everybody by the way, interesting that no one ever talks about it, but Elizabeth Warren is no spring chicken either. She, when Hillary Clinton was running, I was always amazed to compare the two of them. She's 1 year younger than Hillary Clinton. She looks 10 years younger because she's so vital and she's so passionate and revved up about all the things she rants about all the time. It's quite interesting, right? But you would never sort of say, well, she's too old, because she doesn't look at all too old. And I don't think Bernie really does either.
Liz Peek, I'm a little surprised about one of the facts you gave us was that Bernie is only registering at 14% in the polls. As much ink, as much airtime, as much verbiage has been discussed about Bernie Sanders, I would really think that he would be doing better than that, and maybe he's just not the flavor du jour anymore, that people are just tired of Bernie Sanders. Am I thinking too far outside the box?
No, I really just think we've heard it's sort of a one-trick pony. We've seen this act for really 5 years now, maybe 6, and there's not just hasn't been that much building on the Bernie message, and also, as I have said, others have come in and sort of stolen his thunder, right? Everybody now,
exactly.
who isn't in favor of the Green New Deal? Well, there are some people like John Delaney, and actually Biden to his credit, but Medicare for all, everybody's talking about single-payer health care or universal health care of some sort, making college free. At this point, it looks like everybody wants college to be free. So I think Bernie was extremely novel when he came along in 2016. And I think really what, there are a lot of things that people need to understand. One is, to answer the question, here we are in a pretty good economy, enormously good job market. Why on earth would the United States be looking at socialism now, of all times in our history? I get it during the Depression or even in the midst of the recession in 2007, 8, 9, but why now? And the answer is because we have a major shift taking place in who is voting. Voting is going younger, and our kids have been schooled by very left-wing faculties in high schools and colleges, and they have emerged thinking that socialism is better than capitalism. That's the bottom line. And I'll tell you what, people really need to start figuring this out because it's incredibly important to the future of the country. as of this election, 2020, for the first time, younger voters, Gen Z and millennials, will be a bigger voting bloc than boomers and the next cohort down. That is a first, and it's a major shift in terms of ideological leaning, and it's a major shift in terms of population. Now, older voters are more likely to come out and vote, but nonetheless, this is a very big change, and I just sort of caution anyone who is involved in higher ed, if you're on the board of a school or you're involved in some way, you need to push very hard for a diversity of opinion and more conservative-leaning professors, particularly in the humanities, things like politics, political science, and history, and so forth, because all kids are getting now is a left-wing education.
Liz, in your article, you have one line here. It's kind of a short line, but it made me think. You write here, Sanders' major problem, ironically, is that he has been too successful. And do you say that because, as you mentioned earlier, well, all his issues have been hijacked by the other candidates, $15 minimum wage, Medicare for all, and the like. Is that what you were thinking when you wrote that line?
Yeah, of course. He has moved the party to the left, and so they are now with him. He doesn't any longer stand out in the way he did in 2016, and so it's much, much harder for him to, I mean, he's doing very well bringing in money, but it's certainly harder than it would be if he were the only person carrying that line.
Mm-hmm. Also, Liz, you have in here, which gives me a little heart. If Democrats want to win in 2020, they know that Americans are wary of socialism. According to a recent Washington Post ABC poll, registered voters asked to choose between President Trump and a Democrat who they considered a socialist picked Trump 49 to 43%. But that's not what we're told in the polls when we're told last week that of all the three Democrat candidates, every one of those would beat Donald Trump?
Well, remember where we are. So far, we haven't really seen Trump start to campaign in any serious way. These candidates are getting enormous favorable coverage from the left-wing media. The New York Times, for example, is all in with Elizabeth Warren. It's pretty clear. They're getting a lot of favorable airtime on the networks. And so I take those polls with a grain of salt. If you go back and look at Obama when he was running for re-election, Romney was ahead, I believe, not by much, by a little at this point, because it was a new person on the scene, and people were tired of Obama. You forget, I mean, Obama's approval ratings were nothing to write home about when he was running for re-election in 2012. So I do think that, well, first of all, clearly the Trump campaign is itching to characterize anybody he runs against as a socialist. We've already seen that. They have raised that problem or put that adjective on nearly every candidate and nearly every policy that's come along. And I do think it makes people concerned. If you look at the polling across the country, this progressive movement in the Democratic Party is not the mainstream Democrat. I mean, moderates still prevail in terms of the numbers. They may not like Trump, but they may not like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders either.
Right. Liz Peek, Fox News contributor. Liz, we always appreciate the time you spend with us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Please tell our viewers and listeners where they can follow your work and read your articles.
Oh, well, thank you. My website is lizpeek.com, Lizpeek. I'm on Twitter, and I do tweet out most of the things that I write. Liz Peek is my handle, and of course, then you can always go to The Hill and Fox News and find me there. So thank you for asking, and I would appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Liz, so much. Take care, and God bless.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be talking about Beto O'Rourke and his campaign to confiscate guns. Don't go away. We will be right back with our next guest.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Engel. And for rebroadcasts of our show, please check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. You can find rebroadcast of our radio show and our TV show there, as well as a lot of terrific information and a lot of great articles. And with that, Sharron, we do have our next guest with us, and will you please make that introduction?
I'd be glad to. It's a real privilege to introduce Tristan Justice, who's a staff writer at The Federalist, focusing on the 2020 presidential campaigns. He has also written for the Washington Examiner, the Daily Signal, and Tristan graduated from George Washington University, where he majored in political science and minored in journalism. Tristan, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Hi, well, thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. We're so glad to hear that there are some conservatives that are graduating from what we know are mostly propagandized socialist agenda colleges these days. So it's good to have your face and your fresh ideas that are conservative here on our show. We want to talk to you about this article that you've written. In his crusade for gun control, Beto O'Rourke gets the facts wrong about shootings. Okay, this guy has gone clear off the rails. It seems like with T-shirts that use profanity, he's just, can you get any crazier when it comes to what he's doing? I can't see how this works for him to win the presidency. How does it work for you, Tristan?
Well, look, I think Beto O'Rourke is really struggling in his presidential campaign right now. His poll numbers are low. He barely made it into this next presidential debate coming up. And I think O'Rourke is really just looking for an issue to grab onto. A lot of other candidates have signature issues that they've been able to really capitalize on. And Beto O'Rourke really lacked a signature issue in the race. And I think these shootings in Texas last month really gave O'Rourke this opportunity to take over an issue that no other candidate in the race is really making their signature policy proposal. And so he's capitalizing on that. How it's going to fare out for him in the election, I don't see it. This was Eric Swalwell's signature issue in the race, and he dropped out just more than a month ago. And in this, like I said, in this crusade that O'Rourke is going on, he's getting the facts wrong left and right. He said there were 300 mass shootings per year. That number is just demonstrably false. According to the Washington Post, there have only been 167 mass shootings since 1966. And O'Rourke has also characterized this we have in America as a gun epidemic, where he's saying that we have this giant problem with mass shootings in America, which just is absolutely false. We have so many other crises in this country. We have an opioid crisis in the country, killing 130 people a day, which is more than the AIDS and HIV crisis that we saw in the 1980s and 1990s. We have a mental health crisis where more than 100 people are dying a day from suicide, which is completely preventable. And on top of that, O'Rourke said there were 100 deaths from gun violence a day. Well, 60% of those are from suicide. So what we have here is a genuine mental health crisis in America, not a gun violence epidemic.
Well said, Tristan. Well said. I'm so glad that you got the facts out there, because it is kind of disconcerting when they start throwing these numbers around and you go, really? Well, it seems like that because it's become a kind of a frequent phenomena here in the recent past. But he wants to go the Australia way with mandatory gun-style buyback system. Like, that seems like confiscation to me. And how's that worked for Australia? Doesn't anybody get killed over there anymore with a gun?
Well, the gun buyback program, it is confiscation, and Democrats aren't even shying away from that anymore. And also, who's to say it's a gun buyback program? Unless the government sold you the weapon, they're not really buying the weapon back. So they want to and a gun buyback program also is becoming the norm in this presidential field. Several candidates have endorsed the idea. Joe Biden, Beto O'Rourke, Governor Steve Bullock of Montana wants an optional buyback program, but he's still supporting it. And so several states have experimented with a gun buyback program, but the Australian gun buyback program that I believe was instituted in 1996 has yielded really mixed results. And a lot of researchers in Australia have even concluded that the gun buyback program that they instituted in the country had nothing to do with the decline in homicide rate that they saw, because the homicide rate in the country was already on the decline for the last 15 years before the program was passed. Other people also talk about how the suicide rate went down in Australia after the program went through. Well, the suicide rate in Australia was also already going down by the 10 years prior to the act passing. So, whether gun buyback program is really going to work, it's really to be seen. And instituting it on a national scale, where you're confiscating people's weapons, which is ingrained in American culture, I don't think is going to be a policy that Americans will gravitate towards come in the general next fall.
I think you're right. And it seems to me that even though law-abiding citizens have surrendered their guns in Australia, the criminals still get them, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the definition of a criminal. Criminals, by definition, don't follow the law. And so you can pass all the gun control laws that you want, but who you're really going to end up impacting are the people who are the law-abiding citizens with firearms.
Well, and that brings us to the subject of Walmart. There's been shootings at Walmart, and so now they're kind of reacting to that. And what's their policy?
Well, Walmart just announced yesterday, actually, that they are pulling all handgun ammunition from their stores, and they're pulling handguns themselves from their stores. The only Walmarts that did carry handguns, the weapons themselves, were actually in Alaska, but Walmart decided they're going to be pulling those from their shelves too. I think it's a reaction to the CEO came out and said it's a reaction to the shootings that they saw last month, one at their own store in El Paso, Texas. But what Walmart is doing that I think is a good thing is still allowing people with conceal and carry to bring their weapons into the stores, because as we saw just last month, right after the El Paso shooting, an off-duty firefighter in Arkansas with a conceal and carry stopped a shooter in his tracks and held him at gunpoint until the police arrived, and he saved who knows how many lives. So I applaud Walmart for still allowing people with conceal and carry in their stores, but I think their move is a reaction to what the public is seeing as a made-up epidemic.
I think you're right. And take that, Beto O'Rourke, because, it really underlines what's wrong with his argument. As you say, lives were saved because someone who responsibly carries is going to be courageous enough to stop the crime when it's being committed. And it seems to me that police response to something like that just doesn't happen in order to save lives. They just kind of come and take all the statements afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, this happens all the time. People with conceal and carry stop mass shooters in the tracks. It just doesn't get the media coverage that mass shootings do. The media, we have sensationalized these mass shootings. I think it's 57% of American teenagers are scared to death that they're going to be shot up at school, when the actual likelihood of a shooter coming to the school is essentially 0%. Like I said, so few people, relatively speaking, are dying from gun violence in this country.
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting is that Walmart said they wouldn't allow any open carry anymore in their stores. And we have open carry here in Nevada, which is way different than concealed carry. But it, in the West, it's quite common. Alaska, it's common. I guess Texas even passed a law allowing open carry not too long ago. So open carry is beginning to be more prevalent, I guess, and Walmart just said, well, we would rather you didn't carry open in our store.
Yeah, again, I think it's just a response to the public becoming fearful just because of what they're seeing in the media portrayed as this national epidemic, and so now they're afraid. We've almost made the public delusional about gun violence in this country. They think there's an epidemic that isn't present, and so now the companies are putting out these policies to try to make their guests and customers feel safe. You look, if it was me and I was walking down Walmart and saw someone armed, I think I would feel a lot safer, knowing someone there would be ready to go. And so I think the average response time for police, and I could be wrong on this, but it's like 8 or 9 minutes.
Well, if I could just jump in for a minute. During the shooting in Santa Barbara that happened a couple of years ago, where 14 people were killed, 20 others were injured, the police were 1 mile away. They were holding an exercise on at that time. It took, in the 5 minutes it took to get that 1 mile, as I said, 14 people were killed, 20 others were wounded during that Christmas party celebration. So there's your proof there, Tristan. There's your proof that the police are incapable of responding fast enough to save lives. And by that time, the perpetrators, they left. They were in their vehicle. They were heading away from the scene of the crime by the time the police got there. Hey, Tristan, we have to take a quick break. Could you hold on for just a moment for us, please? And Sharron, I'll do the break. And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Our guest this segment is Tristan Justice. He's a staff writer at the Federalist. And we're talking about a couple articles he wrote, and one being, in his crusade for gun control, Beto O'Rourke gets the facts wrong about the shootings. Don't go away. Sharron and I will be right back and pick it up with our guest.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
And once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And for rebroadcast of our shows, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You'll find our TV show there, our radio show there, a lot of great articles, and a lot of terrific information. Our guest this segment is Tristan Justice. He is a staff writer for The Federalist, and he's written a couple of terrific articles. One of them being, under media Democrat pressure, Walmart put handguns and ammunition, or pulled handguns and ammunition from stores. You know, Tristan, when I looked at this, and I read in your article that Walmart don't want anybody to open carry anymore and everything, in my opinion, the sites where we've had these mass shootings, by and large, have been gun-free zones. 94%, as a matter of fact. 94% of these mass shootings has taken place in gun-free zones. I think Walmart is making a big mistake by inviting more terror. Am I thinking too far outside the box here?
No, I don't think so. I think you're exactly on the mark. Look, a gun-free zone is a prime target for a mass shooter. If I was a mass shooter and wanted to shoot up a bunch of people, why would I go someplace where someone's probably armed? So of course, I would target schools. I would target places where there are no weapons allowed on the premises. And so I think making a gun-free zone is just opening yourself up to more danger. I don't think it's practical. I don't think it's safe, and I don't think what Walmart ought to be doing.
I think Walmart is being a little bit disingenuous on this, and I'll tell you why. What are they banning? Handguns. How many of these mass shootings take place with a handgun? It seems to me it's a rifle that's predominantly used, and not handguns, and ammunition. So, you know, I just can't put the two together, Walmart. Why are you banning handguns if you're concerned about these mass shootings? It's not handguns that are being used to commit these crimes.
Yeah, I see your point, but I also would note that Walmart is only pulling handguns from Alaska, since that's the only state where they were still carrying them anyway. Whether they should have handguns in their other stores, now that's another conversation. But the policy now is just to take them out of the stores in Alaska because they've already been pulled from other stores. And I think Alaska is also targeting gun violence at large, and in a way to also just virtue signal to the public that we're too trying to end this gun violence epidemic, and don't want to contribute to it. So Walmart's policy, it strikes me just as a response to what the public is seeing right now.
You make a great point in your article, and I'm so glad you did when you talk about gun deaths. That 6 in 10 gun deaths are suicides. And this is where a person chooses to act upon themselves. 6 in 10 gun deaths are suicides. So I'm really glad you made that point. And Tristan, I was thinking about this subject the other day because I got in a heated discussion with a couple of people at a dinner the other day, and I come home and started to think about gun deaths and about mass shootings. And I come up with basically 3 reasons for gun deaths, for mass shootings, and I wanted to ask you and ask Sharron if I'm seeing all the points or am I missing something. In my opinion, gun deaths are caused by A, criminal activity, B, a mental disorder, being somebody who wants to kill themselves or kill 20 other people and then themselves, or B, immoral behavior. So they're my 3 points. Can you think of something that I'm missing here?
Not at the top of my head. I think you're pretty accurate there.
So I bring this up because when you talk about organizations like the NRA and the Gun Owners of America, people that are in those organizations or support those organizations, I don't see as fitting any of these three criteria. So what this gets, and during this conversation or this argument, I had a dinner the other day. Someone brought up the idea of, do you want somebody who has mental problems being able to get a hold of a gun? Well, I don't want somebody with mental problems to get behind the wheel of an automobile either. I don't want that. But the problem I have with all gun control laws right now is this. Number one, they don't work. Because when you look in our major cities where you have most of the gun violence, most of the criminal activity, they have strict gun control laws. Many of them are already gun-free zones. So it doesn't work. And the fact that drugs are outlawed, but people get all they want, is another proof that gun laws don't work. But what any gun control law is, in my opinion, Tristan, and I wanted to get yours, every gun control law is just another step in what the liberals and Democrats want eventually, and that's the total confiscation and elimination of all guns. And and also during this conversation the other night, the lady there brought up the Constitution and the Second Amendment. And she says the Second Amendment was a well-regulated militia being to the security of its free state. But Tristan, they always forget, always forget the second part of it. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Right. I think you really hit the head on the nail there. You're right. I think what these Democrats are doing in this race is everyone's just running further and further to the left to try to build up their base and get through an extremely crowded primary where it's hard to stick out. And I think this gun control area is just another place where Democrats are running to the left on. That's why we're seeing this federal gun buyback program become so, dare I say, mainstream now.
Right.
And when the evidence doesn't suggest a huge success either. And so, and like I said, in Australia, people who are killing themselves, the suicide rate was already going down. And the suicide rate wasn't dramatically changed just by the law. The suicide rate kept going. And people found other ways to kill themselves. Unfortunately, whether a gun wasn't gone, someone's going to kill themselves, they found a way, unfortunately. So, like I said, I just want to emphasize that we have a real mental health crisis in this country.
Amen to that. Tristan, you mentioned gun buyback programs, and living outside of Philadelphia, here in the Northeast, we hear about these all the time. The local police gun buyback, they'll give out a $50 or $100 or a $200 gift card, and what they get junk. They get antiquated weapons or cheaply made weapons or damaged weapons or rusted weapons. They've been very ineffective in stopping any crime. They're very ineffective in stopping any kind of gun violence. And I say, we don't have a gun violence problem here. We've got a criminal violence, but they've been totally ineffective. Have you found that in your research?
I haven't looked at the cities as much as I've just focused on Australia, because I think when instituting a federal program like this, I was just looking at a broad federal program. But the gun buyback programs, some states and cities have experimented with it. There's been some studies to suggest they've improved, but improved on gun violence, not necessarily in homicides. So criminals will find ulterior motives to carry out their crimes. And like I said, and police are, and it's not a fault of the police. I mean, we can't expect the police to everywhere. I don't want the police to be everywhere in my life. I want, law enforcement is a good thing, and I praise them.
Absolutely.
It's not a fault of theirs that they can't get there in 9 minutes, which is still, I think, a pretty good time, relatively speaking.
Right.
I think an armed citizenry is a safe citizenry, and
I agree.
If we institute these programs and confiscating these people's weapons, I think we're doing disservice to our public by disarming them to protect themselves from others.
Tristan Justice, staff writer for The Federalist, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Tristan, please tell our audience how they could follow your work and read your articles.
Yeah, so you can go to thefederalist.com and you can subscribe to our morning emails. It's, I think, on the top left corner of the page. You can also follow me on Twitter. My username is @JusticeTristan. That's JUSTICE, just ice, and Tristan, TRISTAN.
Tristan, did your mother name you, and is she a fan of Brad Pitt?
Yes, I'm named after Brad Pitt in Legend of the Fall. I have not seen the movie yet, but it's on my list of things to watch.
Oh, great movie, terrific movie. Tristan Justice, we want to thank you once again for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos. Hey, I hope we could have you back on again in a lot, because you are following the 2020 presidential campaign. Boy, we got to get you on talking more about that. Will you do that for us?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Well, thank you for having me.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle, yours truly, Rick Trader. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Don't go away. Sharron and I will be back with more right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Well, Sharron, that once again wraps it up. We had a great show, great guest, great time here. We do a favor for me, and please thank our guests.
I sure will. Our first guest, Rita Dunaway, talked to us about the straw wars. That's plastic straws versus paper straws versus whether they're recyclable or not. And she just did the political case study and rooted out the truth for us. Our second guest, Liz Peek, also into truth, but she's also looking at poor Bernie Sanders, the first socialist on the scene, and now he's just being crowded out because he's got too many great leftist ideas. Everybody's stolen his ideas, and now he can't keep in the race. And finally, we want to thank Tristan Justice, who is with the Federalists, for coming on and talking to us about gun control and Beto O'Rourke and the whole Walmart policy that has changed because of the recent mass murders. So we had a pretty well-rounded cast of guests, and we want to thank them all.
All right. Sharron, how can our audience follow what you're doing when you're not here with me on Conservative Commandos?
SharonAngle.com. SharonAngle.com.
Well, that's it for today. Once again, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.